I haven't watched the news for a while, so today, I think it's the 11th, May 11th. I decided to kick on Democracy Now! Real quick and check it out. So they have, well, obviously, I was looking because I was intending to learn something about Baltimore specifically. So I found a couple things. One, there were two police killed in Mississippi, and it's being charged as capital crime. This is important to bear in mind. Those two cops are racist, fascist pigs that abused, beat, probably sexually harassed, and possibly murdered people based on race. Period. I don't have to know anything about their name or their records. I just have to see their uniform because the Supreme Court is correct in saying that a corporation is a person and the Fraternal Order of Police is an individual person, a racist, decrepit, fascist, filthy, sick pig. The proof of this, compound evidence, they're all about evidence. They pretend to be about evidence, 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 evidence. Now, what was the motivating factor that got these wonderful cops in Baltimore, these men of prestige, these Christian valor knights, to, in the first place, take this gentleman into custody? Well, it was a lack of evidence that they felt compelled them to take it to the next level and to exert the law in a way that they would not exert the law if they were dealing with a non-black person. So, this is where you goes to show is real too. The so I have a criticism still open about the current Attorney General, who just got, the day that she got appointed, approved for her appointment as a district attorney general, she said she's going to give all the resources to the police. I criticize on that. Now she has a this is Angela Lynch. Now she has a statement that she's actually going to investigate them. Now this is where it gets dangerous, okay? The same thing with Obama. Obama was the blackface to save the Bush family from war crimes charges. That would have been a mind-altering perspective of the global terrain. If a United States POTUS, who is merely an agent of the Holy See and the Crown, as well as the Swiss Banking Institute, were to suffer criminal charges for the actual actions that they did, that would, okay, capital is a means of making money. It is not the money. So they use an example. I heard this one example. If you're on an island, you're deserted, and you need to eat, and you think fish are the best way to do it, whether you make a spear or a fishing pole, that object is the capital. In that sense, the POTUS is a capital to these three major entities. If they lose that capital, or if that capital wavers in what's considered all of these concepts that they say that they're supposed to convey, liberty, freedom, independence, sovereignty, and so forth like that, they're fucked. So Obama coming into office, who has a history as a civil servant going all the way back to 1981, where he first met John Brennan, who is the CIA director that he appointed in Pakistan when he was a foreign exchange student for Columbia University, a school in which he never actually attended, not once, not one single individual person from a staff employee to a student on campus ever met Barry or Barack in the 81 or 82 at Columbia University. Some might say, well, obviously that was because he was an exchange student. Well, he was an exchange student. The only place he went to exchange student work for was twice to Pakistan, once in 81 and once in 82. So if the entirety of his time was spent in Pakistan, well, I don't know. You go figure. Under the Bush administration, the Reagan administration's Bush-run CIA covert operations in Afghanistan in the continuation of Zibernitsky. So, but my point is this. So the the attorney general has come in and said she's going to do an investigation about the police, about constant. She says it very, very precise. And Obama was saying the same kind of thing. The Patriot Act is criminal. The war in Iraq was aggressive or all out. Um, but these black faces are the black faces that exist in a ruthlessly dominant white society. Now, she came out saying that she's now going to investigate all these criminal things. The problem is the police are going to be vindicated, much like George Zimmerman was vindicated. And then in the aftermath, the blackface is going to say the same thing that the blackface is in there to say, and nothing more than to say, the law has been served. Who are we? Aren't we Americans? Shouldn't we press forward? Forget the past. So, now on top of that, there's some employee some government employee who's half black in Baltimore, some lady, I think she's the state's attorney general, who likewise is now filing some kind of investigation, opening some kind of investigation into 6 officers in Baltimore. FOP. Now again, this goes back to the single fascist, disgusting, Freemason, devil-worshipping, if you want to call it that. I really don't give a fuck. Child fucking. This is true. This is real, real true. The police fuck children. This is how you get a chief of police to be able to close his eyes to all scale of crime. This is why the same thing too. I'm gonna fuck with your brains here. The same reason that the Department of Defense, because the police are the 5th column. They are the military branch. That is the rape campaign. Okay? Just like in the military, it has taken a long, grueling, hard, secretive battle in order to get the information out and force the Department of Defense to admit, according to their own records, 26,000 different sexual assault incidences are reported every year between troop-on-troop violence. They have never associated that with the suicide rate that has skyrocketed well beyond the killed in action and now stands at around 15,000 troops compared to 7,500 killed in action. Over 15,000 troops have killed themselves and over 40,000 troops have attempted suicide since 2001. Phenomenal, groundbreaking records. The police likewise have the same sexual innuendos or motives. Therefore, when they move up the ranks, they are rapists already. This is the only way that they can do their job. Again, a video where I have a chief of police from the Cerritos area in Los Angeles who's literally sitting there while the doctor, a 54-year medical veteran, member of the Medical Association, the hardcore devoted American psychopath who's believed this entire time for the 53 years of his career that marijuana was a narcotic and da-da-da-da-da-da. And now he's reading the evidence and he's saying, holy shit, this is not true. To see the police officer sit next to him, the chief of police, and again, you have to understand, when you lie, you look to a certain part of your brain in order to access the creative energy you need to make up the fucking lie. The police chief on camera in the conversation, this man fucked little kids in order to protect his position so that he could protect the minions beneath him, killing and robbing and stealing and beating. Went like this. Well, evidence, and if you think I'm over-exaggerating, you could check for yourself because it's in my video. But that goes to show you the psychological fuck up of the Fraternal Order of Police. That man is a regular man, and he knows inside of his brain is an individual brain and has the capacity to understand, like, holy shit, this doctor is actually telling me the truth. But he's also saying, oh my God, I'm a FOP, I'm a Fraternal Order of Police, Fraternal Order of Police, Fraternal Order of Police, Fraternal Order of Police. It doesn't matter what this well-intended, knowledgeable, medical professional, patriotic man thinks. I am FOP. I am FOP. I must make something up on the spot in order to contest this that is based purely on a sadistic, authoritarian addiction. So, FOP is now seeking, the lawyers from FOP are now seeking to have, these are government employees, okay? These are supposed to be democratic, or they're saying, well, it's a republic, not a democracy. You guys don't know, a lot of you don't know about that. Non-white people don't really know about that shit, because white people like that shit. Because a republic is basically saying, is another nice way of white people saying this is a KKK country. The ones that say it's a democracy still say, well, they're trying to say, oh, well, it's not our country, it's fair, even though there's 246 million of them, and only 80 million left of whatever is not them. Broken up into various groups that they call minorities and say they have a resounding chance at some kind of, look, you got a president. So the FOP, just like in Utah, in which a state's attorney general filed charges based on the criminal activity. It's important to understand here. The FOP makes everything an allegation. Why did they take this guy, Freddie Gray? Why did they take him into custody? What evidence did they have? So based on their own, you see what I'm doing here? This is trying to be logic, and I know it's horrible because in a fascist authoritarian system, logic doesn't function because the authoritarian figure can do whatever the fuck they want. This is the Abraham raping Hagar, and then Sarah telling Hagar, it doesn't matter what happened to you, go back and be a good little girl and serve him. This is the process right here. This is the process right here. This is why that story exists. That story is not about God. The Freemasons, whatever the precursor to the Freemasons were, wrote that shit. I call it fascio-Romanoism, as in Roman fascism. Maybe I should call it fascio-Romanoism or Romano-fascism. But anyways, that's what I call it. It is real. It does operate in the lives, just like Buddhism goes like this. It's a kind of sun element, almost, so to speak. Buddhism says, in its analogy, to show you what the cops are, the way this works, in all function. The Buddha is the sun, and the law is the moon. This is an important analogy, because the Buddha in and of himself is the sun, and the law in and of itself is the moon. The analogy exists. You can go into it on multiple levels, but just for this purpose, the analogy exists so that it is only through the light of the sun that the moon is illuminated. It is only through the activity, the behavior, the social interaction with people, not necessarily the words, but the social interaction within people that allows the Buddha to illuminate the law. This is an eternal principle. Whatever your moon is, your fertility, your place of birth, your inspiration, your procreation. They say the moon pushes out blossoms in the middle of the night. Whatever this is, your behavior illuminates it. So the FOP, which murders Americans, is at war with Americans. You have to understand, this is an agent of a foreign entity. Whether it's armed by Americans or not is fucking relevant. The Civil War was a civil war because it was waged American against American. People do not look at slavery as a whole as a civil war, because the white people will refuse to the day that they die, until the day that they inherit their parents' wealth and claim it theirs, that black people struggle for Americanism from day one all the way to, if you want to count the Emancipation Proclamation or 1963 or Barack Obama, whichever one you want to fucking pick, from day one, that was a civil war. Even though they were brought over here unwillingly and kept here unwillingly. That is the key, that these three primary elements, the Holy See, the Crown, and the Swiss banking institutes, rely on to sustain the delusion that America is not a pit of racist, fascist, greed-ridden hell and devil-worshipping murderers who dress in uniforms, abuse children, batter women, kill men. This is the reality. I'm telling you this so that you don't have to freak out. The truth is, There is no Illuminati, but there are some very sadistic, fucked up people doing some very sadistic, fucked up shit. The course of action, I do not know. I am actually coming to a barrier. And that barrier that I stand upon, which is a God or a devil or a gate or a doctrine or a teaching or a degree, is the determination whether this life right here is it. Maybe all of this human fandangling of spirituality and art, creativity and imagination and all of this stuff has been just a coping mechanism to lie that there's something more beyond all of this, so that we don't exert ourselves, all of it, here, now. Because if that is the case, if this is it, in the most glorious, great, like a butterfly, a monarch butterfly, this is it. There is no loss. There's no sham. You're not cheated out of anything. This is it. This is my opportunity to give my all to fulfill my destiny. Make, and it's very simple destiny, and then go forward. So, because if that is the case, and this is it, right now I'm working on the premise that there is some kind of karmic extension, continuum, tapestry, spirituality, cosmic fabric, in which some part of me goes back and forth from, based on everything that's going on, the circles and everything in the world, and that's all nice. You die, you go into the earth, you come back. But that, even if that's true, that does not mean that this life is not it. And if this life is it, then the words that are coming out of my mouth have to change even more dramatically. Because I don't know what I would tell people if I really believe. I believe you're gonna die, but in my context, I believe most of you fucking fascist fucks, you Israeli fucking psychopaths, you fucking Muslim fucking deranged minions, you fucking Christian child abusing fucking pigs, you imperialized Hindu fucking dogs, you imperial militarized Sikh fucking scavengers. When I've learned that the Sikhs still maintain presence in the Indian army and have established for themselves their own division, which is race-orientated sick shit, in the British Air Force, the Royal British Air Force, I've come to realize what the Sikh are too, or what they've become. So as such, what's gonna happen? I don't know. I'm not convinced. And if I do get convinced that this is the last life, what does that mean I'm supposed to do? Does that mean in the last life I'm supposed to fight till I die, or fight in a context that brings about my death? Because that would, in the last life, was the context the most important, to fight or to live? Oh, the dilemmas that must be reconciled by the feeble human mind. So, but either way, I do have to say this. Whichever the course of action is to take, it doesn't take a genius or a religious scholar or a religious person. It actually takes a regular human being, like an Indian, pure and untainted from the sin and disgusting filth of Abraham and all the fascist Romanism that is all of Europe and all of the modern religion, to see that everything they do is fucking disgusting and filthy and violent and blood-soaked and vindictive and sadistic and just fucking wrong. But Don't worry, keep pledging your allegiance, people. Your kids, their vote is going to count. And your daughters, when she's sexually assaulted in this country, she'll be able to turn to a cop that'll spit in her face and try it because he'll know she's vulnerable.